Spoiler!
Disguises a Vulcan.
20-year-old
Well,
spoiler!
Yeah, I was going to say the statute of limitations, I think, have run out.
You know him from Star Trek Picard and 12 Monkeys. He is a writer for Skydance, Marvel Games, Forspoken, and the savant behind Mystic Libations. Todd Stashwick is joining us today. Hi, Todd.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing today?
We just last night had our premiere at the Chinese theater, and so my voice is a little threadbare from talking above the din. But you got me whole hog, both feet.
Oh, I'm so proud. Also, maybe the vacuum of space, maybe she's hard on the vocal cords, right?
She does, yeah. It's taxing.
So I have to ask, this isn't your first Star Trek. You play a Vulcan in Star Trek Enterprise, and this isn't your first time. Well,
technically, right. I was a Romulan.
Spoiler!
A Vulcan.
20-year-old spoiler!
Yeah, I was going to say, the statute of limitations, I think, have run out.
Someone's going to find you on Twitter, and they're going to tell you that you spoiled this for them.
Yeah, I spoiled. They're like, what? Enterprise, that 23-year-old show?
Mm-hmm. Hey, if anyone also hasn't seen Enterprise, it is fantastic. So please
terrific show. What year was it? I think it was 2004, right?
Yes, you were a mere 4 years old at the time. You played the cutest little baby Vulcan that we ever saw.
Baby Vulcan.
But so you played a Vulcan.
Just learning how to do that.
There you go. A Vulcan, not Vulcan. This also isn't your first time working with Terry Matalas. So is Captain Shaw the role that you've been training your whole life to play?
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody, when I was doing an interview the other day, and they said, well, what was the audition like for Shaw? I said 4 seasons of 12 Monkeys. Because I didn't actually audition for Shaw. In 1974, my cousin gave me for Christmas, he gave me my Kirk, Spock, and McCoy action figures. And so I have been pretending to be a captain in Starfleet since I was 6. So, this has been a long, nerdy road that have led to this confluence of events where I somehow find myself in the chair of my own ship.
Okay, speaking of chair, you play the captain of the Titan, a legendary ship that I was so psyched to see finally getting the recognition deserved. And we have Jonathan Frakes as Riker, also a captain of the Titan. And we have Patrick Stewart, captain of the Enterprise. Yes, so in between takes, who actually got to sit in the captain's chair? Was there a fight over it? Did we throw hands? How did that go?
Yeah, the funny part is, I've heard on other Star Trek sets, it's always been like sacrosanct that no one sits in the captain's chair. Mm-hmm. It was a free for all because it was the most spinny. Like, it was fun to sit in my chair because it was super spinny. But some of the other chairs on command, the arms would break, so they eventually had to put a sign on my chair that said "No lounging." Yeah.
And you have a lot of scenes with the two of them and with the iconic Jerry Ryan, 3 legends, luminary talents in the Star Trek world. As an actor, was this just a masterclass for you day after day after day?
It's funny because I had worked with Jonathan Frakes as a director a couple of times. And then Terry, who was my producer on 12 Monkeys, so 4 seasons of that. So they kind of, both of them primed the pump for me. Mm-hmm. When I got to that set, it was a very warm, wonderful set. The writing was so good, and that all I had to do was lean into it, say the words, and play the scenes. And so, we were all bringing our A game because this is a legacy, right? Like, this is a legacy that came long before me. It'll be here long after me. And our job is to be custodians and to bring our A game to serve the material as best as we can. Yeah. And they were inspiring.
You're in a very elite group of people who have not only been in Star Trek, but have been a Starfleet captain. That's like being James Bond.
A little something, right? It's, I never thought about it like that when you're doing the work. I mean, part
Mhm.
of me was again 6 years old, going, "I'm on the bridge. I got a
Yeah.
phaser." Um, but most of me, which is the adult man actor person, is like, I have a character to play. I have scenes to do. I have to learn my lines, and I just have to bring the truth and the reality of the relationship. It wasn't until like really yesterday at the Chinese with all the Star Trek fans there, where you suddenly go, "Oh yeah, this is kind of rarefied air. This captainhood." And how it's treated by the fans, that you are the captain of a ship. It's really humbling, and it's really wonderful. Yeah.
If you could say, if you know, are we getting a Shaw action figure?
I don't know.
Ah, okay. Everyone, get on
I'm
Twitter.
crossing if they make a Shaw action figure, I can just walk off into the ocean, because as you see, this is my nerd lair, and I love the toys. So yeah, that would be pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool.
It would just be so lovely if 20 years from now someone was like, and I had my Captain Shaw action figure, and now I'm the captain of the Titan 5, and I always knew this was where I was going to be.
I love what you're saying.
Thank you. So
Yeah.
Captain Shaw, without getting too spoilery into who he is and what he's about, but he is an engineer, which for being
Was an
was
engineer.
before he was a captain, which is for being in
Yeah,
Starfleet is as close as you can get to a kind of blue collar job. You actually have to go
very
and touch
much.
things and get
Very
your
much.
hands dirty. Deacon is also very much in 12 Monkeys, and if you haven't seen 12
Yeah,
Monkeys, shame on you. Go stream it right now.
it's a
Uh, De-
thing.
Deacon's also very like working class, blue collar, tough type dude. Is there something about playing these characters who are willing to go in and do the work that really appeals to you?
100%. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. My father fixed machines for a living. He had his name over his pocket. First one up, last one home. Fixed cars. So I was around that uh, my whole life. That is, I mean, I turned out to be like the arty farty actor boy, but my life is, I'm a blue collar kid from the Midwest, and so then Terry kind of wrote that into the character, and the character is literally from Chicago, and he literally refers to himself as a grease monkey, and
Yes.
so uh, I like these salt of the earth characters. I like the fact that they don't have a problem speaking their mind. They don't suffer fools.
hmm
Um, they they'll do the right thing when they have all the information, but they do not go off half cocked. And I kind of dig that. Like they want to, like a carpenter, they measure twice, cut once, and so I really dig that about characters like this.
Measure twice, cut once is, having seen a couple of the episodes, a very apt description of Shaw that I would not have thought of. You kind of blew my mind with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. He does not make rash decisions. He'll make quick decisions in the
hmm
moment, but he needs all the information, all of it. He's not gonna, like, if you're keeping things from him, he's playing his cards tight. Which is what is fun about watching the response to the character so far,
hmm
is people go, he's right. He's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He may be a jerk, but he's right. And so that's what's really been a blast about watching how people receive him. Like, oh, he's pretty funny, and he's right. He may be a jerk because he's being nasty to the people that they've loved for 20 plus years, but he knows what he's doing.
He's rather Kirkian in that way. In the original series,
Right?
like Kirk is a very information gatherer, but will shoot from the
Yeah.
hip when he has to.
Yeah, I'll do what I got to do when the. But he's also, and I don't know how many episodes you've seen. You sort of learn why. Yeah, so you learn why
Yes.
he is his singular job is keep his crew alive for
hmm
very strong reasons. He's got some complex trauma in that department, and so for very strong reasons, he uh, he he has to keep people alive. That is what he does, and he uses the protocols of Starfleet to do it. He needs those structures to keep people safe. Yeah.
So lastly, before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the writerly part of your brain as well. You're playing in the
Yeah,
Marvel sandbox right now, which is so
I
incredible.
am.
But
Super fun.
at any point in your work, does your actor brain and your writer brain, did they find each other in conflict, or do they work together in a nice simpatico?
They 100% work together because I when I'm writing a story, I want to write something that I would love to be in.
Hmm.
Meaning, like I can feel the scenes, I can see the scenes, I know what it'll feel like on the inside as an actor writing these scenes. So they're never in conflict. It's all. I mean, I'm an entertainer, period. So whether it's writing or acting or improvising or any of it, it's all entertainment. All the lines kind of feed each other, and I think being an actor first gives me an interesting perspective on the writing side of things. And then the other way around, when I'm doing scenes and acting, I can appreciate the writing and understand ideally what the writer is going for.
Todd Stashwick, thank you so much for joining us here in the Popverse today. Everyone can see
Thank you.
everything that we alluded to in just a few short days. February 16th, Picard
Yeah.
Season 3 is debuting. Where can everybody find you online where they can send you their hottest Star Trek takes?
You can find me at Todd Stashwick on Twitter, at T Stashwick on Instagram, and you can look at my nerdy merch site called thenerdcircus.com, where I sell a bunch of fun D&D related and pop culture related merch. That was a little project I started during the lockdown. So, yeah,
Yay. Follow Todd
that's where
everywhere,
you can find me.
support him, pick up his books, and watch Picard. Thank you so much.
Look what I did.